Welcome to the 200 movie challenge. 10 months in. We're trying
Oh,
to watch 200 movies we haven't seen this year. So we're on episode
oh,
37. That's how crazy
Whew,
this has been. 37.
damn,
Um,
that's a lot.
we got four movies to talk about, which will put us at 174 for the year. So we're
Mm.
smooth sailing. I am off next week, which may give me a few more in. Depends on if I can accomplish, but that's for next week. So we got this week. This is the day before Halloween. This might
Yeah,
be the last time we have some horror themed. Who knows? Because I like to go on Tubi and
yeah,
watch
we'll
some
see.
crap. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying it's the end, but for the most part, we've been pretty consistent throughout October. I think the only non-horror movie we might have seen this month was Me with John Candy. I Like Me, and that's just because I wanted something a little happy. Oh no, you saw La La Land. So that was not really,
Did.
yeah. So there's been a couple, anyhow, but I think we do have a few more, or maybe one real horror movie and two that are horror adjacent, which I will talk about later. But Soto, we're gonna start with you, and
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this first film. I didn't even have a chance to look it up when you told me. I'm like, what? So let's get into your first film and tell us all about this
Well,
movie.
yeah. Well, imagine my surprise because my brother-in-law had actually recommended a movie to me, and I
Ooh.
thought it was this movie. It wasn't this movie. Oh, my brother-in-law, I completely must have misheard or I don't know, not understood what my brother-in-law was telling me, and I thought that this was the movie he was talking about. Uh, and it's definitely not. So this movie, so this is a mistake movie. So this movie is called The King.
Okay.
It came out. It came out in 2019, and it stars Timothy Chalamet, Shamalanga Ding Dong, as we've said before. Which I think is my second movie that I've seen with him, right? Because I saw, um, what is it? The Complete Unknown for the Bob Dylan biopic earlier this
Yes,
year.
yes. I don't know if there's another one in there, but
Yes.
definitely yes, that one.
Yeah. So he was in this, and then Robert Pattinson was also in this from Twilight. And so I didn't really know what was going on, what I was getting into. Now the story revolves around historically King Henry V in England. I almost said New England. There's no New England kings, and how he became, really he went from like this kind of like party prince and wasn't really interested in the crown, to like a warrior king, and like he was out in the battlefield and he's doing all these things. So it's kind of a very romanticized idea of that. I think there's a Shakespeare play about it. I'm not that smart, so if you know stuff, please tell me. But I think Once More Into the Breach, my friends, comes from that play. And so Timothy Chalamet plays Henry V, and he is just taken over for his father that passed away, and through a series of circumstances, he now has to think about what he's going to do to take over France. So this is like in the 1400s. This is like way long ago, and so that's the historical context of it. But as a movie, because that's what we're all here to
And
talk
that is why
about,
we're here. Yes.
uh, that's why we're here. Who cares about the history?
You can
I was
share a little
actually kind of
history.
surprised. Yeah, a little bit just for context, but I was actually surprised of um how much I enjoyed this movie. It was just a solid. If you're into like history type movies, this was just a solid movie to watch with that. I don't know how historically accurate it is, but I found it enjoyable. I found his performance to be really good, so I'm kind of becoming more of a fan of him. Although I really did not like the Dune movies, which we never talked about. Obviously, that was one of our movies that we rated last year, but it didn't make it this year. But I was not a fan of the Dune movies. I've seen one and two, and they're the most boring pieces of shit that I've ever seen. I actually prefer David Lynch's, as flawed as that one is. At least it has Kyle MacLachlan, and it's way more interesting. And Sting is in it. But I kind of looked at this actor Timothy Chalamet, and I was like, whatever. But he's actually really impressed me. He was really good in this. He carried it, and I thought it was really well acted. I thought Robert Pattinson was pretty good as, the French asshole, who is like the antagonist in this movie. I thought he was great, and I thought the way that it all ends is pretty good too. And um, Also, I was surprised to see Lily Rose Depp at the end of this. So Johnny Depp's daughter. I talked about Nosferatu earlier this year. Johnny Depp's like his daughter is. She's a really good actress. And I don't know how many things you've seen her in, but she was like kind of like at the end of this movie, and she was good too. So overall, it was just well acted, well shot, great cinematography, solid historical epic. That I, even though it was a complete mistake that I stumbled upon it, and it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, which you know I hate.
Yep.
I found this movie pretty damn enjoyable.
So Soto, I gotta ask, what was the movie that was actually recommended to you?
I think it's called A Knight's War.
Knight's War?
And it has to do with like it's more fantasy based and King Arthur. At least that's what I have written down in my notes. Because anytime anybody, if I'm out in the wild and somebody recommends a movie to me, I write it down on my notes, like in my phone, so that I don't forget. Because obviously we're always looking for recommendations. So it's called like a Knight's War or something like that, or maybe I'm even wrong on that. But it has to do with like King Arthur and some shit. Nothing to do with this movie whatsoever. I thought that because this movie kept showing up on my Netflix recommendations, that this was like it heard me, and this was the movie that I needed to watch. And so I completely, without, I thought I was watching a totally different movie. And once it started, I was just like, okay, I guess I'm watching this.
So I looked it up real quick for you. Knight's War came out in 2025, currently free on Tubi. Now, this might not be unless there's another Knight's War. I don't know.
That's not a good start.
This is the first one that popped up. And it just says a courageous knight embarks on a perilous mission to save a woman's soul. However, he is soon confronted with the unexpected and disturbing aftermath of her return. So I don't know if that's it. I just typed in Knight's War, and that's the first thing that popped up. I was just curious because I'm like, was it Kingsman, this and that? So I don't know. But you know what? That all doesn't matter because you actually saw The King. 2019's The King.
Did, yeah.
So obviously this has to be kind of a shock because it wasn't even a movie recommended to you. You just went in kind of blind. Totally blind.
Just didn't
expecting something different.
Yeah, totally different.
So where are you putting this in your movies? Excuse me.
So this feels right because I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but at this point, this area of the list is kind of, the middle of the road part of the list. Like, the I won't watch this ever again. I've seen it once.
Yeah.
And so, it feels like number 43.
So
I think
underneath there,
I have a lot of work. I have a lot of work to do with this list. I'm not as cool as you. I haven't reworked it, but it feels like 43 right now. And that's before I go and just blow this whole shit up.
correct. Yeah, I had to. I earlier today fix this. Fix the list. So yeah. So you have it right underneath Terrifier 3, and right above The Founder. Sweet.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, again, I think this is a good movie. I think it's well acted. I think it's well shot. I don't think I'll ever see it again. But if you're into history and you like this shit and you like, Anglo-Saxon history, I don't know how romanticized it is. Obviously, every movie is like romanticized, but I enjoyed it. I watched it on a Saturday morning, and I thought it was very well done. So, but that's it. Middle of the road for me.
Really, nothing wrong with that. Middle road with this kind of list that we have going still does not mean a bad movie. When we started this, movie being at 43, you're like, oh, that sucks. But now, yeah, because that's what, your 87th movie? So yeah, that's actually pretty as close to middle row as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to figure out what movie I wanted to start off with, and I really didn't have much planned. And what I usually do is sometimes I just go to every streaming site from Tubi, Peacock, Prime. I'm like, something just might pop up, just something to catch my eye. I didn't want to watch, even though we kind of joked about the Tubi horror movies and we had no Tubi September. I'm like, I don't want to go that route. I don't know if I will by the end of this year. We'll see. We still have 2 months, but that's besides the point. I actually think I did see this on Tubi though. But it isn't like a Tubi classic, as we'd like to say. And I kind of forgot that this movie came out. I remember hearing about this at the beginning of the year.
Hmm.
and I could not see it because I don't remember what streaming services it was on then. And unfortunately, I didn't put it down to listen. I totally forgot about it till it was staring me in the face. And
Hmm.
it is a horror theme, but it's a documentary. So I saw, and I kind of teased this last week, anyways. But I did see George A. Romero's Resident Evil. Came out in
Oh,
2025. Now,
interesting.
for people who don't know, there's going to be a lot to this, and by that I mean this is about George Romero. He had the rights first to make a Resident Evil movie. So actually, let me rephrase that. Constantine Films had the rights first, and they hired George Romero to make a script for this movie. And this is like
Hmm.
late 90s. So this is before the Paul W.S. Anderson crap films came out. Or, you know what? I mean, I'm not going to say they're crap. They're just not Resident Evil, especially the first one. Then they threw because when we played the games, and, I'm going to have to get into the games anyway. So we wanted that. So, anyhow, this documentary first kind of goes into George Romero's history. Obviously, Night of the Living Dead. He basically created the whole idea of the zombie, and a little bit, what he did, how he got into films, Dawn of the Dead, and all, basically the Dead series, and how then it goes into the second part, which I didn't mind that. I'm like, okay, I like George Romero. I like zombie films. And then
Hmm.
it goes into Resident Evil, how the games came about, how it was this huge success, how a lot of them did not even think this was going to be a successful franchise. How first it was made, Biohazard, obviously, out there in the East before it came
Yeah.
our way. And they weren't
Hmm.
even sure. And the fact that I think it sold 1 million copies in Japan like the first week kind of shocked them. And that's when they knew they had this franchise in hand. And I know you know this, Soto. I love the Resident Evil series. One of the very few series where pretty much I will probably day one purchase any of them. I know Resident Evil 9's coming out in
Yeah.
February. Yeah, I want to know where they're going. I just get into the lore. As bad and as cheesy, I don't care where it goes. I'm like, I have fun with it, and that's what a game should be. Entertaining. I know you get scared.
I
We'll
do.
talk.
I do.
So, so this documentary goes into a lot of the Resident Evil, how the first game came about, how they went right in the second game, and how Constantine Films quickly grabbed the rights. And yes, they hired George Romero, and he created. Now he didn't never play the games; he knew nothing of them. He tried playing. He's just not a gamer. He actually had an assistant play through the games, get the important footage to him, so he can kind of make a decent screenplay first draft. And so he did, and he watched a lot of it, and so obviously nothing shot, as we know, nothing happened. So this is a lot of tales of what that script was going to be like, and why all this fell through. And so people working, but I think Capcom instantly nixed it when they saw George Romero's draft. Imagine that, Soto. George Romero, the creator, to me, the creator of basically what a zombie is, what the lore of a zombie is. Night of the
Yeah.
Living Dead, just an all time great director in that genre. People look up to him. He brings a lot of
Hmm.
people. And he's first draft, and like, no. And the big reason, there's too much violence, too much blood. He tried, now there was some things they said he
Really?
changed. Yes. That is a very big thing, that the reason why this got canned. There was some choices,
Really?
because if I remember correctly, obviously we know Chris and Jill, the big two characters from Resident Evil game,
And
and the
Barry?
stars. Well, yes, there is Barry, and there's Albert Wesker. And actually, this is narrated by the guy who did the voice of Albert Wesker in the first Resident Evil, which is kind of cool
Don't
because,
open that door.
well, yeah. So not that cheesy of lines, but one thing was changed was Chris Redfield wasn't part of the stars, and he was dating Jill Valentine, so they kind of put in a little
Oh
love interest in it,
no!
because he was just,
Why?
I don't know, they messed around a little bit. I'm just trying to figure out
Oh,
different ways how they got to but he put in the mansion, and he put in, there's a little bit more backstory, but the big thing is, yeah, he had the dogs, he had like even the snake, he had the spiders, he had a lot of these characters, the tyrant, there was a little bit more
what?
backstory with, well, the T virus.
Interesting.
Yeah, so basically he got all these things in, and again, Capcom saw it and they just said no. And then obviously there's a lot of back and forth. Paul W.S. Anderson kind of said, well, I see the movie more as a, in the universe, just kind of, maybe not what the games are, just something very different. And I think that's why they went this route because they're like, well, who wants to see something that people already know is going to happen? Because we play, you play the games, they want something different. And I think that's why
Yeah.
Capcom went with him. And yeah, I think there's five films he did, live action films, and they bring in the characters, but it's never had that Resident Evil feel. And
Mhm.
yeah, George, even before all that though, George Romero kept asking, hey, can we do this? Just basically, you know, different things to try to get this movie made because he loved the idea. He loved, the suspense of what the games did. And so he appreciated it. And it was just amazing, like, but Soto, how close we could have been to not just a George Romero Resident Evil, but almost as close to an authentic. Yes, there might have been some changes with the characters, but the mansion, the look, the feel, everything Resident Evil, it was just scary, suspenseful, and that's what the games were, and that's what the live action movies ended up being were not. They had like some computer thing, and I'm like, none of this shit is scary. Oh, they gave us the dogs, yay. So yeah, it is. I will say, even though I'm kind of talking good about it, I don't know. I felt like I wanted more of what this movie would have been, and obviously they couldn't show more. The first half, maybe even was all about George Romero and Resident Evil, which again isn't a bad thing. I just wasn't. That's not what I came here for. I was more I know a lot of the Resident Evil history, so that was kind of boring to me. It was kind of recapping. I know a lot of George Romero. Again,
Mhm.
so if you don't know, yes, it does fill you in. But for me personally, I was more curious about this script, and I wish they had more info of what it was outside of the fact that it just got blacklisted because yeah, it was too violent. And maybe it's just because you got to also think what the '90s were. Because we were coming off the slashers of the '80s. It was a little bit more of a different feel. Supernatural things were becoming huge. Obviously, we had like what the Ring, the Grudge, all that shit. And I know there was Scream, but even that, from what I remember, wasn't too bloody. Not to what the extent was this, because they said this would have been rated NC-17, his original script.
What?
Exact. I don't ask
Wow.
me. So, but again, I think I just got bored with it. They did have some interesting people that he worked with. Even James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, talked a lot of
Oh yeah.
Romero. They interviewed him, so I was like, that was a cool little Easter egg for me because I'm like, because I know he's a big horror film guy. He has like cinema,
Mhm.
obviously more independent. So yeah, this isn't bad, Soto. I just don't think I didn't know what to expect going in, and because I think I wanted more of what this movie could have been. Um, but I didn't need the me personally. I didn't need the history of Resident Evil, Romero, but that's because I know a lot of it. Especially us being film buffs, we
Mhm.
know what Romero meant. It. So it's like okay, this part, and then like finally getting the interesting part. Then they kind of went back into Romero and his unfortunate passing and a lot of that stuff. So I think I wanted more of what this movie could have been, and I think that's what disappointed me out of anything. And documentaries are hard. And I've said this. I've actually watched now, I think maybe four total
Mhm.
documentaries. I know I had Jim Henson, John Candy, the Nintendo one. But
Yep, you have.
like Jim Henson, I would go back and watch the idea, man. Ken, I said it. It's very nostalgic, but it did a great job of just the history and that what he meant to me personally. Whereas this, I'm like,
Mhm.
I have no need to go back. Anyone that is interested, see it, just see what could have been, just try and find it. But like I said, I knew too much information that I was like, yeah, I just wish there was more. I think more of what, why it fell apart outside of just too bloody, maybe more of what the script could have been. I think more of that history. And again, I know because it's Hollywood. What if, that's a lot of it.
Mhm.
So there's not a lot of information. So this was a love letter to George Romero. That's how I kind of felt to it. But it's not what I
Okay.
wanted. And I will leave it at that. Like I said, I don't want to say this was bad. I was interested in why, and I got the why, as much why as we could, and I think I felt like I just wanted more. So I'm looking. Where do I rank this? So it is going to be, unfortunately, more in the bottom half. And this is just me
Okay.
personally. I'm not. It's not going to fall too low. I will tell you, it is above. Actually, it is above the Ron Clark story. I know you always ask that.
Oh, the Ron Clark line. Nice.
It is above that, but not too
Wow.
far above it.
I thought you really
So
liked the
this
Ron
is
Clark.
right now, because I just like the two, and I think this is the cutoff because I was disappointed in Barb's Burgers. So this feels like a good spot. Number 53 is kind of
Okay.
where I'm going to go with this right now. Because again, for me personally, I think I just expected something different out of this.
Yeah.
And if you don't know much about George Romero, or if you want to learn about Resident Evil, go ahead, check this out. I just knew a lot about it, and there wasn't as much about that, why it happened. But I would have sort of just the fact that it was violent and bloody, and he was sticking as much to the game. Like this is the one of the biggest what ifs because I've said it. Like the Paul Anderson ones are just shit. There's cartoon movies, the animated Resident Evils. I will tell you this: anyone see those? Those are amazing. Those are well done. They're entertaining. They know what they are. They bring in a lot of the classic characters, and it's a fun watch. So if you see them anywhere, if you have PlayStation, I think they have like Sony Core, which is free. I think a lot of the animated Resident Evils are free on that. Plug, Resident Evil, we'll plug you, whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
I mean, we love it.
I think I was a little disappointed in this documentary. But again, if you don't know much about George Romero, you don't know much about Resident Evil, and you want to learn about the history, it's not a bad history. I didn't realize how much they didn't think the game was going to succeed.
Mhm.
The actual studio was a little bit worried. They thought they were going to go under, and then Capcom, yeah, they went all in. So yeah, the fact how much, and I think Resident Evil 2 just like doubled their sales, like their overall, like the first one, like the first day or something. So that everyone knows the success story of Resident Evil. So excuse me, heartburn there. But yeah, 53
Okay.
feels good. Like I said, I mean, I don't hate it. I was disappointed, and that's why it's there because it's like right above Bob's Burgers, and I was disappointed in that too. This is my disappointed area, where my Captain America, Bill and Ted, just like I felt like it could have been more, but it is what it is.
Disappointment zone.
Yeah, this is just my this is like it's not. I don't want to say it's bad. It's just disappointing. So I'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
it's the
So
zone of disappointment. Nobody wants to be there.
no,
I definitely don't want to be there.
no one does. Um, but Soto, your second movie
Yeah.
is actually a
Yeah.
very relatively new movie and very current.
It's the newest
Surprise.
movie I've seen.
So tell me about this.
So, Resident Evil, huh? You
Resident
like
Evil.
that movie? You like those games?
I love those. I love those games. And I know you hate those games, but that's hides the point.
I mean, I've played quite a few of them, but so my next movie is the movie Weapons, which just came out this year. And the director, Zach Kreger, is directing the Resident Evil reboot that is currently in production. So Zach Kreger, who directed Weapons, is going to be doing Resident Evil. He's working on it right now. I think it's going to be releasing in 2026. So there is going to be a Resident Evil reboot movie. And it is going to be directed by Zach Kreger from The Whitest Kids You Know. And this movie, I'm going to tell you right now, the premise of it is that in the middle of the night at 2:17 a.m., all these neighborhood kids in this one classroom run out of their houses at the same time and disappear into the night, and nobody knows why. Okay, that's the premise of the movie. And the family's like they're at the school and they're like, what the fuck? Like, why is it only this classroom except for one kid? One kid did not go into the night in the classroom. So you have a whole classroom except for one kid and the teacher, and all of them have gone missing. And you see ring cameras, and they're running out in the middle of the night, like in a very specific posture, and they're all running into night the same exact way at the same exact time, 2:17. That's the premise.
Okay.
So, like, as we always say on this, and we've been doing 10 months now, fucking almost 11 months. We're always like, you know what? It's so hard to nail a premise that has a satisfactory like resolution, right? Because
Correct.
anybody could come up with a premise that is mysterious. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe this, right? Like you wake up one morning and you're chained to your ex husband who has no head or whatever, and you're like, I want to see where this goes. And so that's exactly what this movie is. And at first, I was kind of like, where is this going? And then it ratcheted up a notch, and then so the narrative is done in a character perspective way, so it's out of order. Not to the extent of Pulp Fiction, but that's the kind of narrative structure that it is. It's like you'll start off with one person's perspective, and then it'll switch to another one's, and then as you switch perspectives and it goes back, you eventually get the full story, right? You've seen this a million times,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's how this plot unfolds, with the mystery of the teacher and the parents thinking that she had something to do with it, and then the kid not talking, and he's got something to do with it. What unfolds is one of the most like iconic horror movies that I've ever seen in any,
Ooh.
like I've never seen anything like this kind of vibe. And the reason I say that is because there are just ways that this evolves. Like there's a character in this movie that is like gotta be the number one Halloween costume this year, because like that's how impactful this character is, and how the story happens. It's fucking wild. And the ending sequence is one of the craziest fucking ending sequences I've ever seen. Like in a horror movie, in any movie, like it's fucking like I was like, where is this movie going? And the way it all came together, I was like, holy shit. And then the crescendo of the last like scenes, I was like, oh my god, this movie is fucking out of control. Um, didn't expect it, because most movies are like hyped up, right? We hear about movies and we're like, okay, how's this movie gonna be? And then you're like, oh, whatever. And I wouldn't say that it's like scary, because I don't really get scared from movies anymore. I know you don't, you probably don't either. I mean, you get
No.
like kind of probably spooked, but you don't actually get scared. You just appreciate like what you're seeing, right? Like you appreciate the vibe it's giving off, and then that's how you can, enjoy it. And so with this movie, the way the story unfolded and the way the story ended up, I mean, the ending was so fucking crazy and great, that it actually elevated the movie, for me a little bit. And so I was surprised that I actually saw a movie that had hype to it and then lived up to that hype. I think that this movie, was that impactful. Now, of course, I've talked about Sinners, which kind of hit me out of nowhere, and that was unexpected. But if you are a fan of horror and you like a spooky setup, and then you like, twists and turns, and then a banger of an ending. I mean, I'm talking about, this is one of the best endings I've seen in a long time. It is fucking crazy. And you know what? It's actually kind of the ending is like kind of like one of the most violent things I've seen outside of Terrifier.
Damn. I will say this, Soto.
Yeah.
When I knew you watched this, I this has been on my radar like when I first heard about it. So I might try and check this out next week, and I'll give a quick update if I get an extra movie in. But
You should.
yeah, no, because I've heard a lot of good
Definitely
things,
should.
and I kind of was like, man, and I just this week I couldn't squeeze it in, but I'll get to that. But yeah, no, it looks. I've heard again a lot of good things about it, so I'm glad it for you. And if it lived up to your expectations, I mean, we've talked a
Oh,
lot.
it's fun as fuck.
Yeah,
I had a
and
great time watching. Yeah, and it was a good solid horror movie, and if you could watch it this weekend, obviously you have access to it. So definitely watch it. Um I was just surprised because I really didn't know what I was getting into. I watched the trailer, but I didn't really buy into the hype so much. I knew that it was a big deal, but I went into it blind, and I let the movie just kind of do what it was doing. And this is one that I will definitely be watching again. If not this year, I will watch again moving forward, because now I want to see Like it's one of those movies where when you watch it the second time,
You get more out of it.
You're gonna be like, oh my god, I didn't even pick up on that. I didn't pick up on that. That's the kind of movie this is.
Wow, so this could be high up on your list. It's sounding like do we sort of
This
have a top 10 movie? Do we have a top 5 movie?
it it is not a top 5 movie, but it
Okay.
is a top 10 movie.
All right. Where are we putting
And
this?
where this is gonna fall is gonna be right now. This is gonna be number 7, so it's gonna be just under Godzilla -1
And over the fall.
over the fall.
Over
Yeah, I
the
mean,
fall.
it's just the more I think about this movie, the more I appreciate how original that it is. And it's just a good, solid ass, clean fucking horror movie. Gets in, it gets out, and then the ending is like like the ending I didn't see coming, and when it was happening, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like it blew my mind. So
That's all you can ask for.
not to
So
hype it up, but that's
no, no.
I feel like if you watch it, you'll be like, "What the fuck?" Like I can't even like. There's no way I could even spoil it. Like there's no way you could guess what the ending of this movie is going to be like.
No, and I'll talk about it. Like I said, if I see it, I'll give it a quick update and add it to my list. Um, so we'll go from there.
But
So
if this guy is the director of Resident Evil, oh,
I can't.
it's going to be
Well,
good.
I don't know too much about the reboot. Well, I will say there's another movie that's been on my radar, which hasn't been free, but I've been wanting to see it for the last couple of years. I don't have stars, but it's Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, and I've just heard that movie's shit. But I want to know why it's shit, and obviously it's
Oh,
Resident
well,
Evil.
you never
So
know.
yeah, well, my friend Marty, we were a long time. He even said it, so I'm like, yeah, and I know it's got a low Rotten Tomato score. So if it ever comes free, I'm not paying for it, but I want to see it.
I'm not
So
paying for this.
well, you never know. This I've now created a list of movies. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, there's been so much disappointment in the live action Resident Evils, but if he needs to stick to what the game is. That's what fans want now.
That's what I hear. So yeah, stay tuned.
So yeah, this week has been tough. Just work and everything, and I've been exhausted coming home. Usually, when I
All
watch
right.
movies, and I was like, God, I'm like, I haven't got to a second movie. Then today I got home and I sat down and I was like, I had a little more energy. I was feeling good. And it's like, well, let's see if anything pops up that I kind of want to see. And I went to Tubi. Because,
Of
again,
course you did.
Tubi wasn't the first. I will say I went Netflix, Peacock, and it's just like quick scrolls. And I forgot about this. And me and you have talked about this. And
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of a brief, conversation a little while ago. And you were kind of surprised I didn't see it. And you were, can't wait till I did see it. And I forgot about it. And I'm like, there it was on my list. Less than 90 minutes. So
uh-huh.
I saw the 1993 musical comedy Cannibal the Musical.
Oh, yes. Oh, what a great twist. I love this.
Technically,
Please
kind of in a
tell
horror
me.
theme. I mean, I say that, but yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just
Oh my
having fun
God,
with it.
Cannibal
No, it's
Musical,
not horror,
yes.
but So obviously, you know me, and for people, I've been a huge South Park fan for God knows
Oh
how
yeah,
long. I've watched all the
late
episodes
90s.
up until probably more recently when they went to Max and stuff like I don't even know what where I think they're on Paramount now.
Paramount. Yeah,
So
exclusively.
there's a lot either way. I'm like, I remember when they first came on Comedy Central. I remember
Me
laughing
too.
my ass off. I remember going to the movie theaters and seeing Bigger, Longer, Uncut, and that was just what they did. They took everything you loved about South Park and said, "We're gonna do all that and more that you didn't even fucking expect, and you're gonna love it." And I did. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I mean, I know this is more Trey Parker than anything Cannibal the Musical. They're just
Oh yeah,
brilliant. And me and my
so
wife,
brilliant.
when we went on our honeymoon, we went to Philadelphia. We specifically went to Philadelphia because we wanted to see the Book of Mormon. Because it was just at
Hmm.
that time, it was right before that they were playing New York City. I'm like, fuck, that's expensive. But then they went to Philly afterwards. Like, okay, we can afford this shit. And we died. Soto, I know you don't do musicals, but if you ever get a chance to see Book of Mormon, I'm telling you right now, I will go with you. We will go with you. It is so, you will die. You and Sarah will, especially because I know you like this humor. If you know, I mean, if
Mhm.
you did not like South Park, I'd be like, don't see it. But the fact that I know you love Trey Parker, Matt, like this is a musical you would enjoy. That would probably be the best musical you've ever seen in your life. But anyhow, we're not here to talk about that. I'm just relishing in the brilliance of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. But yeah, so
Mhm.
obviously I put this in because it's kind of older. It's full screen, which I always laugh at. I don't even know where to begin so because at first I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
they had the opening scene. At
Yep.
first, actually, even before the opening scene, like the film's violent scenes have been edited out for your viewing pleasure. And I know this is just a joke, obviously, because then they put in based on a true story. So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's see where they
Yeah.
go. I and then yeah, the opening scene, guy ripping, I think he ate guy's arm. He ripped the guy's arm off. It's just out there. But the premise of the story, I mean, if I can say a premise, um, Trey Parker. I already
Like the
forgot
Donner Party.
say what? Oh, and
Like the
Dahmer
Donner
part.
Party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donner. Yeah.
Anyhow, Packer. That's right. His name is Packer. He's put in
Yes.
jail for the murders of, well, the supposed murder. Well, we know they're murders, but they don't know at this time. And he's just talking to this woman about the history. And this is a musical as well. And I will say,
Yes, it is.
the beginning was weirdly a little slow. I mean, I'm not talking about that opening scene. That opening scene was silly. But I don't know what happened second and a half. I kind of got into it way much more. And there's some parts that made me laugh. He's like, my heart is full like a baked potato.
Yeah.
I'm like,
We're
I don't
doing.
even know why. I'm just,
It's like
um,
the most dumbass Disney
but
song
that,
ever. It's great.
exactly. And I think that's why I love it. Um, they're always,
We're doing.
I kind of wrote something down, and my handwriting got bad at the end, so I can't even read. Oh yeah, and they're always talking about Mormons, but and then just it's quick one-liners and quick scenes, and I
Yeah.
think we talked about the cuts. Like Matt either just like casually says, "Hey, watch out for that bear trap," and they're like that just as he's walking about, just so casually, and someone steps in it. Uh,
Yeah.
I, so I don't.
Silly movies. Silly movies.
This became the second half. I think just the silliness hit the right parts of me.
Mhm.
The first half there
Mhm.
were some parts, but overall I was like, okay. I'll be honest, I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling some parts, but overall I'm like, all right, just trying to figure it out. Obviously he lost his horse and he's so devastated by it, because that's the love of his life. I
Mhm.
don't even know what else I can say. I don't want to get us canceled. Not that we would get canceled, but then obviously they find an Indian tribe who are totally not Indians. Somehow, in the most,
Oh
I will
yeah,
say
that's
this in
right.
the racist way, they're all Asian. Um,
Yes. Yep.
And that's who Trey Parker and Matt Stone are. They can just turn it into
Hmm.
something that's hilarious without, I mean, without crossing the line way overboard. But you're just like, they just make it work.
I mean, shitty walk, like right, like you've seen that, you know it. It's
Yep.
shitty walk. So that's what they do. It's like like it's like a loud like race. We're like, oh, that's hilarious.
And
Like that's like we completely are okay with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. We are like, no, that's fine. That's actually funny.
but then I guess again going, because it is a comedy in this story,
Yeah.
because obviously they're kind of crossing to the Colorado area, and they get
Colorado, is that
caught
what
in
you
this
said?
storm, and one guy. So before we get to that, before Frozen became Frozen with Elsa, I'm laughing because they kind of have a
Uh,
song, "Let's Build a Snowman Together." Like,
mhm,
let's
they
build a
do.
snowman. And I'm just
Yep.
laughing my ass off. And it gets really annoying. And everyone to them, and one of them shoots him. Just like, no, I'm done. I'm done with music. I'm done with the snowman. Shut up. And then obviously they're stuck out there and they have to eat him to survive. And
Yes.
we know
Yes.
I've seen Alive. I've read that book. I've known that story and similar to that. But
Oh,
then
the
it's like that.
K2 one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, there's yeah that as well. But and then I think Matt Stone he's looks and because the guy starts carving it, I was like, God, I don't want that piece. He's like, well, what piece do you want? Well, not but. It gets silly, it gets absurd, and I was just along for the ride. So I don't know what more to say. Like I said, you have to like this kind of humor. If you do not like South Park, you do not like the way Trey Parker and Matt Stone just like, what, we don't give a fuck. Obviously, this
Mhm.
is before South Park, so they don't go as overboard as South Park did, but there you can see
Right.
where some of these beginnings started. Uh,
Oh,
you
definitely.
can just be like, oh damn. So again, I did not know what kind of ride I was going to be in for when I saw this, but I went with it, and you know what? It is silly, it's absurd, and I enjoyed it. But if you don't like South Park, don't see this. So
True.
I don't know if there's anything more you want to add to this because there's really not
No,
much more I can add. It's just quick one
I
liners,
just thought it
quick.
was it's just hilarious. If you like South Park, this is mandatory viewing because you have to see where Trey Parker and Matt Stone came from. It's just part of overall South Park lore. You have to see it. Is it the greatest movie? No,
No,
but does it inform you on like what like happened after? Absolutely. I mean, South Park's been on now for well over 20 seasons, right? It's like Simpsons level
oh,
at this
got
point
because
almost.
it came out in late '90s, mid to late '90s, the first season.
I was in high school. Like, this was one of the first internet memes and jokes that you passed around back at the beginning of the internet. Like the original Jesus versus Santa Claus
Mm-hmm.
video that was done by them. That was like I found that on the internet first, and me and my friend would just replay it over and over again on our computers, and we'd be laughing our asses off because it was Jesus versus Santa Claus, and they were like saying terrible swears to each other. So if you are a fan of this, like you have said, this is perfect. You have to watch Cannibal the musical, like in order to be part of their whole entire vibe.
100% agree. And yeah, no,
Mhm.
this is worth it. Where I rank this is gonna, even though I've been glowing so much about this, um, this is a little bit more than middle of the road because this list gets hard. So
Mhm.
we've talked about it, but right now, and this could go up when I look, but right now this just felt like a good spot because I have it at 33. I have it kind of right there, a little bit above them, because like I said, the first half it took a little bit. I did enjoy it. And I just watched it today, so this is a quick gut check. But again, we talked about when it sits, when it simmers. Some things go up, some things go down. I don't think this is going to go down. This might go up a little bit once I kind of look at the section again. But right now, I'm kind of around there, right, below a couple. Because because I loved Ready or Not, the Happy Time Murders with the puppets. And that's the same kind of like humor, just silly, out there humor. So that's where I'm feeling this right now.
Okay.
Again, things can change, but
Subject to change.
everything is subject to change. I don't think this will.
Nobody's holding us to this.
No,
Nobody
I
cares.
don't feel like this is going to crack the top 30 as I'm now looking at some of the bottom ones, how much I like them too. But like I said, I always say that we've talked about this. We see a movie, let it sit. How much does it sit with you the next day or two? Because you mentioned about Sinners. And I forgot you had
Hmm.
like even like a
Oh
Nora and stuff
God,
like
that was
that.
fantastic.
But that's the thing, it's just like you have to let a movie sit. And I literally just finished this 2.5 hours ago, two and a,
Mhm.
3 hours ago, whatever.
Wow, this is
Yeah,
brand
because
new.
it's brand new. And then I went, ate some food, and yeah, just waited, and now we're doing this. So right now, that's where it feels like. Because again, not the humor's there. Obviously, it's a very independent film, not the best quality, but it's not meant to be. And I think that's why it kind of works. But like you said, if you like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, you kind of need to see where they started. And this, I don't know if it's free. I might have to see Orgasmo now. I've never seen that, Soto.
What about basketball? Have you seen
I
that?
saw that. I was actually very disappointed in that. My wife hates me for that. I say hate. I shouldn't. That hate's a strong word.
Have you rewatched it?
Yeah, I've watched. Yeah, me. Yeah, I saw it when it first came out in
You've
theaters.
rewatched it and you still don't like it?
I watched it when it came out in theaters because we used to go all the time, and I remember a couple scenes. And
Yeah.
like the funniest thing was seeing him do Cartman as the live, like
You
doing it
don't
live.
really like it doesn't grow on you
No,
like
because
after rewatching, really?
Jill gives me shit about this all the time. She's like, "What kind of taste do you have?" Because this and like Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I'm like, I don't know. It's like you just don't get it. I'm like, I get it. I don't know. I don't
Kung
know
Pao,
why.
I get like Kung Pao like is kind of funny. And
Oh,
baseball is
shells.
kind of funny, but it's like Kung Pao is like I shit on it, but it's like it is actually if you're like in the right mindset, it's pretty funny.
What?
It's absurd. You have to like absurd humor. Like, do you like absurd humor, like Monty Python, like where it's just absurd to be absurd?
Sometimes, again, Monty Python's hit or miss for me. So, and
So absurd might not be your vibe.
it's not
It's okay.
usually, but sometimes it can be. It just has to hit. And
Okay.
again, yeah,
It has
no,
to hit your level of absurd. Yes.
well, I guess, I mean, it's anyone's level. So, but yeah, no, I saw Basketball in theaters. Thought it was like, yeah. And then, yeah, I know Jill and I watched it sometime, whatever. And, when she found out I didn't like it, she has it on DVD. So she's like, oh, like, all
Yeah.
right, second watch. And I'm like, eh. And so, again, I don't know. I know, like I said, Cannibal has, what was his name in the basketball? It's not Skeet. Is it Skeet? So, who am I?
Oh, I think yes, I think I know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
Yeah, he's like the little guy that I always remember.
Yes.
Like he's in, and I'm kind of pulling up the character's name. I'm like, oh, Squeak. I was close. I just had to look that up. But yeah, Cannibal. Like I said, I maybe that was part of it. Maybe that's why I couldn't get in the beginning. But I don't know what about the second half. Just got me more, and I laughed more at it. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why it's ranked where it is. But like I said, I did not hate this. If it
Yeah.
was on, I'd watch it again. I might not go out and watch it again. I do.
Right.
The songs. Like I said, the songs. I made me laugh, and I'm like, this is a soundtrack I would have probably bought back in the day. Just saying, I like absurd songs, and I think that's why I like Book of Mormon. Um, anyhow, so yes, I
Okay.
did.
All
I
right.
saw Cannibal. That's where it is.
Okay. Fair.
It happens. I mean, it is
Cool
what it is.
classic.
Yeah. So no, that's it.
You know,
That's our
that's it.
that's our four movies.
37.
Yeah, 37 episodes down. We will return next
Hmm.
week. You got a new top 10. I'm not saying next week, but maybe the week after we talk and we kind of do one last time choosing each other's movies.
Yeah, we're there.
I think we're there just for one more round of it. I already know which one I have to see if it's free. I kind of know which one I would choose for you. Something that's not on the
Ooh.
list, but something I don't think you've seen, something I've talked about. But yeah, maybe in a couple weeks. We'll talk about it next week and we'll pick it out. But do you have any plan?
Cool.
I know you're watching The Crow, but
Oh,
any new ones you might be watching this
Crow is
weekend?
tonight.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know The
which is
Crow's
which is
tonight.
a rare watching a movie I've already seen. What a strange thing. Um, again, the substance is still out there. I really want to watch Hereditary. Halloween doesn't stop for me, Chad. Okay, Halloween is year round. I'll go all the way to Christmas. So yeah, but those are ones I definitely want to see. Weapons was a surprise. Um, Came out on October 24th, so I'm like, okay, I have to see that because movies are coming out quicker and quicker.
Yes.
But I'm still in the horror vibe, and I still want to see. Again, my friend told me that when he watched The Substance, which of course is gonna overhype it, that he stood up in the theater and clapped. Now he's whatever, he's himself, and I would never do something like that, but I got to imagine that's a pretty good movie. So I kind of want to still see that with Demi Moore, and we'll see. There's always Friday the 13th Part 3,
Oh God, yeah, I forgot
which
about
I'm
that series.
definitely want to see, and 4 and 5. Well, 4. I want to stop at 4. Um, I don't think I've seen Halloween Season of the Witch. I don't think I've
Halloween
seen
3.
that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
So
one
I haven't seen
either.
that one. There's so many movies, dude, that are out there. It Follows that I haven't seen that are just there, and I'm like, I want to keep watching new movies. It's a chore to do it, and it's just 88 movies in. I'm like, fuck. But like, there are so many movies out there, man. Like, it's impossible to catch up. They'll always be there.
Yeah, but we're not doing this again next year. Not to this extent.
Well, I will say, I'm going to tell you this, Chad. Okay, and I mean this. Right here, we are at episode 37. Yeah, like people will often tell me like they don't make movies as good as they used to or whatever and stuff like that. I think that's bullshit. I've seen plenty of new movies where I'm like, this shit is great. It's just that movies aren't like a part of our everyday like they used to be. So they're not like so you kind of have to like go out of your way and find movies way more than we used to when we were younger. But the good movies are still there, and we both have seen great movies this year. You have Amelia Perez as your number one.
I was about to say both of
Movies
ours
that
are within the last year. I know mine was like
yeah, and like they're
2024, but
still making like great movies are still happening. And for anybody who's just like, oh no, movies are not like what they used to be, it's like you know what? You're not trying. Like, it's you got to get out there and you got to watch movies, and do your thing, because that's what I've learned so far as I'm at the cusp of 90. I know you're already in the
I'm a
90s,
little,
but
yeah,
as I've
94
watched
now. Yeah.
as I've watched 90 movies, new movies this year, this is exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted us to have this exercise because I wanted us to just both understand that good movies are still being made.
They are. I just think more or less, and we've talked about this, the movie theater experience has gone downhill. It's changed,
Mhm.
but you know what? You can enjoy a good
Yeah,
movie at your house. So, but all right, that will do
absolutely.
it. We will be back next week with who knows how many movies. I am off next week, so I got some things I got to get done. But who knows? I might be able to get in three next week, at least three. We'll see.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
I got time. I
96,
got
96,
time. Uh,
96 or 95 does that put you at?
I think I'm at 90. I'm trying not to pull. I think I'm at 90. It's an even number. Right now, I'm at
Yeah.
94, actually, 94. 'Cause
So if you watch three movies, you'll be at 97 movies for the year. That's oof.
I'll be at 100
That's
movies,
gonna
but
put
I
you up.
guarantee I'll be at 100 movies by Thanksgiving. I will be at
That'd
100
be
movies.
awesome. Take the holidays off and have to watch
No, no, no.
movies.
We
That'd be
can't
great.
quit. We got to get to 200. So I'm like, there's no time off to a
I
point.
love
I
it.
mean, yes, Thanksgiving Day. Well, real quick, the hard part is for me, and I don't know, yeah, and I'm going to assume for you too, but Stranger Things is coming out, and it's coming out in
Oh
November.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So
It's coming out. I'm gonna watch that shit. Day drops.
I don't know if I can watch it the day it drops because
I
it
won't
drops on
watch the whole
Thanksgiving
thing.
Day, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of odd, yeah. So, but that
I'm
weekend,
at home. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's only gonna be a few episodes because I think there's only 8 episodes, and they're doing what Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. So,
it's great. That's a great schedule for me personally.
but we'll get to anyhow.
I'm off
Yeah,
on those days.
we'll be doing this again next week, and as we usually say, if there's a movie you want to see, just comment, just do it.
Just let us know.
Let us know if it's
Yeah.
free. We'll watch it, and we haven't seen it. So, till next time, just go
Yeah.
watch some good movies, people.
Just hit play. That's it.